You know that feeling when you wake up in the morning and you try to move and you feel really stiff and you feel like you've aged 15 to 20 years overnight? Let's talk about what's really happening here. We've been like this for hours and hours, then we try to get up and suddenly do some quick movement. It's like, no, I've been here for so long. You're gonna have to coax me into a different state. And we can do that through applying heat, doing slow progressive movement, or doing some self-massage. And this is where the xMount comes in. So grab your xMount and join me for my wake up routine. Okay, so I'm gonna start on my foot. I'm going to use the hedgehog attachment as it's nice and stimulating, and that's exactly what I want in the morning. So I'm gonna pop it on the ground. Now I'm gonna focus on this area right in the middle of the foot and up towards the base of the heel. So just applying some pressure here. And then I'm gonna do some gentle circular motions. And I'm gonna do this for about 30 seconds. Now, as I've mentioned in other videos, there is a theory that treating our foot can have a positive impact on the whole fascia up the back because it's all interconnected. Readjust your positioning as needed, whichever feels nice for you. Swapping over to the other foot now, getting right in that tissue-y bit in the center of the foot. And it feels really nice right at the base of the heel as well. Okay, and wrapping that up. Great. For the next one, we're going to go down to the ground. Okay, so next up, I'm going to treat the hamstrings and the calves at the same time. So I'm going to choose the hedgehog attachment here, and I don't actually need to use the base for this one because my muscle sits really well into that because it sits quite high. So I'm going to put that about halfway down my hamstring muscle group there, just so I can get into the muscle bellies. And now I have really sensitive calves, so I'm going to use the rookie attachment here, but I do want to get quite deep into the tissue, so I'm using the base of the xMount just to give me a little more lift so I can lean deeper in. And for that one, I'm going to go into this big chunky bit of muscle here, which is the gastroc and the soleus, and I'm going to go right in the center just to keep it simple. And for this one, I'm just going to have my other leg bent up so that I can lean a little bit further into that tissue as well. And I'm going to increase this another level by doing a bit of forward flexion of my spine and coming up. And then one step further again, I'm going to do some plantar flexion of my ankle and then dorsiflexion. So we're going to go down, plantar flexion, and up, dorsiflexion. All right, so we're going to do this for 30 seconds. Let's go. Down, plantar, up, dorsi, continue. Now this is quite firm for me, so I'm just going to make sure I'm doing some deep breaths as well. All right, we're wrapping that one up now. We're going to do the same thing on the other leg. So moving over, popping this one right in the center of the muscle belly of the hamstring group here. And then my rookie attachment right in the center of the chunky muscles down here in our calf. You know what to do. We're going to go forward into plantar flexion and then up to neutral in dorsiflexion. Let's go 30 seconds. Now this one's not quite as tender for me, so I'm going to try and get my chest as close to my quad as possible to really get into the tissue. And we're just going to wrap that up. One more. Great, that one's all done. Okay, so next we're going to treat the erector spinae group. Now this is a big bulk of muscle that sits either side of your spine. So we've got the concave bit here, that's where our spine is running, and all the way along either side is the erector spinae group, which is made up of several different muscles. Now I'm going to use the hedgehog attachment here because again, I want that stimulating pressure, but to make sure that we're not applying any pressure on the spine, you can position your fingers on the spine and then make sure that the hedgehog goes next to it. All right, so we're going to start in the lower back area of the erector spinae. So as I said, I'm going to place my fingers on the center of my spine here to make sure that I'm not leaning in there. I'm going to pop the xMount on the wall. That's about the right height for me. Fingers on the spine. I'm just going to lead the lower back muscles into there. All right, and to enhance this a little bit, I'm going to do some posterior, so like a tuck under, posterior pelvic tilt, and then anterior pelvic tilt. Remembering it's the morning, we want to get some muscle flow, some stimulation happening, so movement is great. And we're going to do this for about 30 seconds. Now, if you find that anything's uncomfortable, like if you're finding that the anterior pelvic tilt is uncomfortable, just return to neutral instead. All right, wrapping up with that side now. All right, moving on to the left side. So again, I'm going to position my fingers on the spine and then leaning that lower back tissue in and starting our movement for 30 seconds. So posterior tilt, anterior tilt, posterior, anterior. Keep breathing. It should feel nice and soothing. And winding that one up now. Great, now we're going to move up the wall a little bit. So now we can get the lower thoracic area. So we're going for just below the shoulder blade. So if you feel on your back, you'll feel this big triangular shape here. That's your shoulder blade or your scapula. And just a little bit below is where we're going to focus now. So I'm going to position that about there for me. Starting on the right side first, I'm going to put my hand again on the spine here, leaning the tissue next to the spine in. And for this one, I'm going to do a gentle rotation to the side that I'm working on. So I'm going to rotate my torso just to really get into the tissue. Once again, we're going to do this for 30 seconds. If that's too uncomfortable for you, feel free to not do the movement. But again, we want to really wake up, really stimulate that fascia, so movement is best. And wrapping that one up now. Onto the other side. So again, placing your fingers on the spine, leaning in just under the scapula. Ooh, this side's a little bit more sore for me. I'm going to rest here for just a second and then starting the movement. 30 seconds, go for it. Oh, feels real good when you've got a sore muscle. Don't forget to keep breathing. Should be that sweet pain. And just wrapping up. One more. Great. Now moving up to the rhomboids area and our mid-trapezius. So that is between our scapula and our spine area. So I'm just going to move this up just a little bit. Leaning into the tissue. Again, if you need to, you can place your fingers on your spine, making sure that we go on the other side. Now for this one, the most common area that gets really sore is just around the scapula. So I'm going to cross my arm over and touch the opposite shoulder. So I'm going to treat my right hand side here, leaning into the xMount. That is sore. And I'm going to do some gentle circular motions on this one. Again, doing that for 30 seconds. Now for this one, you can move all the way up and down the edge of that scapula. You know your body best, so just find the point that feels really good for you. And once you feel that relaxation occur, you can slightly adjust, just bending up or down. If it's too firm for you, remember you can change to the rookie head as well. And wrapping that one up there. Moving on to the other side. Again, check we're not leaning onto the spine. I'm going to cross my arm across to the other side of my body. Lean in. Oh, that side's even more sore. And 30 seconds on the clock. Gentle circular motions here. Slightly change my location here now that that one's relaxed. And wrapping up there for that one. All right, now for my favorite, we're going to do the suboccipital area. So that's the area just underneath the skull here. And that is where a whole bunch of our muscle attachments from the neck and the back end up connecting there. So I'm going to pop this one on the wall. Check my head height, a little bit lower. Now this one's really important that we don't put any pressure on the spine. So once again, I'm going to position my fingers on the spine and then lean the tissue either side of the spine in there. Now remember, we do also have a whole bunch of muscles that connect up in here, but also some that sit on the very back of the skull. So if you've got a little bit of pressure on the skull, that's okay, as long as we're feeling that sweet therapeutic feeling. All right, leaning in, and I'm going to do some rotation of the neck for this one, and again, 30 seconds on the clock. This one should feel really, really nice. Remember to take some deep breaths and just enjoy it. And if you like, you can also introduce a little nodding, so just like a slight chin tuck. Make it feel good for you. Moving on to our other side here. Again, making sure there's no pressure on the spine. And starting with our movement, slightly rotating. And you can see as I'm moving, the xMount is pressing all the way from the spine, all the way across to my ear, getting all of those muscle attachments. And if you prefer, you can do a little bit of a chin tuck and a nod. And just wrapping that up. All done. All right, moving on now, I'm going to do the hands. So I'm going to place my right hand onto the xMount. If you want to apply a little bit more pressure, place the other hand on top, and then we can do some movement where we open and close the hand. Again, 30 seconds for this one. All right, wrapping that one up now. Just a couple more. And swapping over to the other hand. So placing the center of the palm in there. If I want to apply a little bit more pressure, which I do, I'm going to use the other hand to lean in. And 30 seconds on the clock, we'll start opening and closing the hand. All right, and wrapping this up, a couple more. Good. All right, now we're gonna wrap this whole thing up with doing a quick mobility exercise. Okay, now doing a cat-cow mobility exercise. So we're gonna go onto all fours, making sure that your knees are stacked under your hips and your wrists, elbows, and shoulder are all stacked as well. We don't want to be back or forward, as that applies pressure on our joints. Tucking your stomach muscles in towards the spine. We're going to take a breath in. And on that out breath, we're going to move into the cat position. So tuck your pelvis under, draw your spine up to the ceiling and tuck your chest. And then on the in breath, we're going to go into the cow position. So tilting up, head to the ceiling. Breathe out into cat. And into cow. Let's do that about 4 more times. Breathing out, breathing in. Let's do 2 more. Breathing out, breathing in. Last one, make it count. Okay, have a great day.